What if I told you that the biggest threat to a man's strength isn't war, poverty, or even death? It's submission, not the kind that humbles a man to something greater than himself. No, I'm talking about quiet, smiling submission to someone who knows exactly how to pull your strings like a puppet on a stage you didn't know you were performing on. A girlfriend, a wife, a lover. Someone who says I love you while quietly cutting your spine from the inside out. And if she controls you, you've already lost. Welcome back to the channel that dares to ask what it really means to be a man in today's world. If you're tired of the lies, the noise, and the sugar-coated nonsense that's poisoning modern masculinity, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this is where the masks come off. Let's get one thing clear right from the start. Masculinity is not toxic. Weakness disguised as obedience is. In every ancient tribe, every warrior culture, from the Spartan phalanx to the samurai code, there was one rule for men. You do not kneel unless it is to your God, your king, or your death. But today, we've twisted it. Men now kneel to avoid arguments, to keep the peace, to make her happy. Even when every part of them is screaming inside, this isn't right. How did we get here? It starts slowly. First, it's harmless. She jokes about your clothes. Then it's, don't hang out with your friends tonight, stay with me. Then she doesn't like how much time you spend on your goals. Then your goals change to include only her. Then, before you even realize it, you don't recognize the man in the mirror anymore. You were once a builder, a fighter, a dreamer. Now you're a shell wearing her preferences, living her plans, and calling it love. This isn't a video about hating women. Far from it. Women are powerful, mysterious, magnetic. But power, any power, must be respected and understood. In 1913, the infamous Russian mystic Rasputin warned that the downfall of men would not come through the sword, but through the seduction of identity. And what is more seductive than love that masquerades as ownership? Control never shows up in chains. It comes dressed as care. I'm just worried about you. I don't think you should do that. It's risky. Are you really going to take that job? It's so far away from me. Little drops, subtle doubts, 1 degree off. But over time, you end up miles away from your purpose. And a man without purpose is already dead, even if he smiles in photos and picks up the groceries on time. Let me tell you a story. It's a true one. There was once a man named Daniel, 6'2", disciplined, owned his own gym by the time he was 30, had ambition like wildfire. He met a woman at a business conference, sharp, elegant, confident. They clicked instantly. For the first few months, it was heaven. Passion, laughter, vision. She loved how driven he was. Then slowly, it began. You work too much. I never see you. You're always thinking about your business, not about us. So he stayed home more, skipped his morning routine, let his gym manager run things without him. That gym was his temple. Now it was a chore. Eventually, he sold it. Why? For the sake of the relationship. Within a year, the woman was gone, and so was the man he used to be. It happens every day, quietly, silently, and it's applauded. People say, that's what love looks like, compromise. But compromise isn't surrender. True compromise is meeting halfway. What most men do today is abandon ship and call it romance. Now ask yourself, has this happened to you? Maybe you've stopped speaking your truth because you're afraid of hurting her feelings. Or maybe you've started dressing how she likes, avoiding your friends, shrinking from your dreams just to avoid the tension. You think, I'm being the bigger man. But here's the reality. You're being erased, and it's not just personal, it's cultural. Society is conditioning men to think leadership is oppression, that assertiveness is aggression, and that protecting your mission is selfishness. But let me remind you, a lion who forgets he's a lion does not become safe. He becomes prey. Throughout history, men have stood tall in storms far worse than relationship tension. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, led with stoic resolve through plagues and war. Yet he wrote daily to remind himself of who he was. Why? Because even emperors need to fight the quiet war inside, the war of forgetting their mission, their values, their fire. And once you forget your fire, it doesn't take long for someone else to control where you burn. You might be thinking, but isn't love about making sacrifices? Yes, but not of your soul. A man may bend in moments of tenderness, but he must never fold in the foundation of who he is. Otherwise, what does she love? A mask? A doll? A reflection of herself? A man who erases himself to please a woman eventually becomes invisible even to her. And nothing dies faster than attraction for the man who no longer stands his ground. So here's the truth. If she controls your decisions, she controls your destiny. And the scary part? She might not even know she's doing it. But if you've handed over the reins of your masculinity in the name of comfort, fear, or validation, then you've traded your crown for chains. And you've done it with a smile. Now take a breath, because here's the twist that no one tells you. You can take it back. You can reclaim the ground you've lost. You can look in the mirror again and recognize the man staring back at you. But it starts with a painful, honest question. Where did I go soft? Where did I trade my purpose for peace? Where did I let someone else's needs override my principles? The next part of this journey will challenge you even more. We're going to explore the psychology behind why men give up power so easily, the silent war of emasculation happening every day, and the 3 steps to rebuild your frame, your boundaries, and your self-respect. But first, sit with this. If she controls you, you've already lost. Ask yourself, have I lost already? Or am I still fighting? Let's go deeper now, not into her behavior, but into yours, into the quiet corners of your mind where you knew something wasn't right, but you stayed anyway. Because here's the secret most men won't admit out loud. It's not always her fault. Control is not just something given. It's something offered, voluntarily, silently, out of fear, out of loneliness, out of addiction to comfort. Why would a man who was once ambitious, assertive, grounded, surrender that power? Because deep down, many men were never taught to hold it. Society taught them how to perform, how to obey, how to be nice, but never how to lead. And in that void, they confuse peace with permission. They confuse validation with love. They confuse obedience with strength. But strength isn't obedience. Strength is choosing to remain yourself, even when everything around you begs you to change. Let me introduce you to another story. His name was Elijah, a brilliant coder from Silicon Valley. Launched an app, got funding, was on fire, until he met someone who seemed to understand him more than anyone ever had. She was emotionally intelligent, nurturing at first. But slowly, his boundaries disappeared. She'd cry if he left for business trips. She'd hint that his ambitions made her feel abandoned, so he stayed. He cut back on growth, refused partnerships, skipped events. Why? Because he thought that was love. Fast forward 3 years, his company was bankrupt, his friends gone, his spirit fractured. And the worst part? She left him saying, "You're not the man I fell in love with." And she was right, because she fell for a man with fire in his veins, and he had doused it for her comfort. And this is what too many men learn too late. The very thing you kill inside yourself to keep her is the very thing she was attracted to in the first place. Women are drawn to grounded, self-led, masculine energy, not weak, accommodating shells, not men who fold under emotional pressure just to avoid conflict, not yes men. She may say she wants a soft man, but desire and respect are 2 different beasts. And when a woman loses respect for you, intimacy dies. So how do you fix it? You don't fix her, you fix you. Step 1, reclaim your mission. If you don't have a purpose outside of her, you are a servant to her moods, her demands, and her plans. A man without a mission is a boat without a rudder. He'll be steered by the strongest current, and often that current is emotional manipulation. Step 2, build your boundaries like they're sacred, because they are. Every time you say yes when you mean no, every time you shrink yourself to avoid a fight, every time you tolerate what violates your values, you're building a cage with invisible bars. And soon you'll forget where the door was. Step 3, develop emotional sovereignty. That means your moods, your confidence, your identity are not determined by her validation or withdrawal of affection. If she says, "You've changed," you say, "I've evolved." If she says, "You're selfish," you ask, "Or am I just finally putting myself first?" Learn to disappoint others before you betray yourself. You see, masculinity isn't about dominance, it's about direction. It's not about control, it's about clarity. You don't have to raise your voice or slam your fist to be powerful, but you must know who you are. You must know what you stand for, and no matter how seductive the storm is, you must never abandon the lighthouse inside you. Women are not the enemy, but neither are they the compass. A woman can be your queen, but only if you've claimed your throne first. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to please her and start leading yourself, that's the moment she starts respecting you again, or fearing you, or leaving you. But at least you'll know, you didn't lose yourself this time. This message isn't for every man. Some will hear this and scoff, too deep in comfort to care. But some of you feel this in your bones. You know you've been drifting. You've been nodding when you wanted to roar, smiling when you wanted to walk away. And you're done. Good. Because real masculinity isn't born in books, or podcasts, or self-help influencers. It's born in the quiet decision to choose yourself over and over again, even when it costs you the love you think you need. You're not here to be controlled. You're here to conquer your mind, your mission, your manhood. You're here to become ungovernable by anything except your code. So ask yourself right now, have I given my power away? And more importantly, am I ready to take it back? If this message hit something deep inside you, share this video with a brother who needs to wake up. Drop a comment below and tell me where you're reclaiming your life. And if you're ready for more truths like this, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and be here next time. Because remember this, if she controls you, you've already lost. But if you reclaim yourself, you've already won.